Good morning. My name is Enos Harris, and I am the hearing officer for San Francisco Public Works. Turn on my video. Um, with me today is Mirabelle Hanson, who is serving as the clerk of this hearing. This hearing is being conducted virtually via Zoom and is being recorded. A link to the recording will be made available afterward on the San Francisco Public Works website. As this is a virtual hearing, there is no sign-in sheet. If you would like to receive notification of the results of today's hearing, please send an email to the address listed on your hearing notice. Today's hearing is being held to consider three items. Order number 212778, to consider notice of violation for the notice of violation 041026-051-001. The violation is for excavating without proper public notice, improper information on notices / forged signs at Seacliff Avenue and 27th Avenue. Order number 212791, to consider an application for a major encroachment permit for pre-existing underground conduit below Hyde Street at McAllister and Hyde, connecting the buildings located at 50 Hyde Street, 198 McAllister Street, 200 McAllister Street, and 100 McAllister Street. And lastly, order number 212818, to consider the Candlestick Point Major Phase 2 project. My role as a hearing officer is to gather facts, listen to all testimonies, and make recommendations to the Director of Public Works. I will not make any decisions today. Instead, I will forward my findings and recommendations to the director, who will make the final determination. Once the director has made a decision, the department will notify you if you have submitted contact information. The hearing for each item will proceed as follows. Public Works staff will present the case. There is no time limit for this presentation. I will then call on the applicant to speak. Finally, I will hear from any member of the public or witnesses who wish to speak. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes. The clerk will monitor the time and will notify you when you have 30 seconds remaining. If you are party to the proceeding and would like to use visual materials, please let me know before you speak. You will still have the standard 3 minutes to present your comments. If you're using a computer, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom when I call for public comments. If you're dialing in by phone, press *9 to raise your hand when I recognize you, and if you're muted, press *6 to unmute yourself. All comments and questions should be directed to me, not to the applicant or to Public Works staff. If I believe a question is appropriate, I will ask it. If you cannot complete your statement within the 3-minute time limit, you may submit written comments to me by the end of this hearing. After all comments have been heard, I will close the item. Before we begin the hearing items, I will accept general public comment on matters that are within the department's jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda. Are there any public comments at this time? Okay. So I guess since there are no public comments, I will begin the hearing.
Okay, Ms. Harris, there is no public comment, and I just wanted to say I will be standing in for Maribel Hanson today as the clerk.
Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Clinton. So the first item on today's hearing is order number 212778. May I please have Public Works present their case?
Good morning. This is Gabriel Howell, DPW Street Inspector for the Utilities Division. The history report on Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, I myself, the inspector, responded to a complaint regarding improper signage at Seacliff Avenue at 27th. 27th Ave. Upon arrival, signage posted at this location was identified as associated with RNS Construction Management, Inc. I myself, the inspector, determined that the permit number displayed on the signage, 26EXC-01442, does not correspond to an approved permit for this location and is currently in the agency status. Additionally, the QR code on the lower left of the signage corresponds to permit number 24EXC-0408. The correct permit associated with this location is 26EXC-01421. Upon further review, I myself, the inspector, determined that the posted signage had been altered from the system-generated signage. Modifications included changes to the location description, linear footage, contact phone number, permit number, and QR code. The signage appears to have been altered from a previously issued permit, 24EXC-04808. Under Article 2.4, posted signage must match system-generated permit information, and any modification of signage is not permitted. Although permit number 26EXC-01421 was approved on March 27th, 2026, the system did not assign street space or generate signage for the Seacliff Ave and 27th Ave segment. Despite this, the contractor is required to coordinate with the permit division to correct or update permit records. Altering signage does not meet Article 2.4 requirements for proper public notice. At the time of inspection, no excavation activity was observed. However, Article 2.4 requires proper and accurate public notice prior to commencement of any excavation activity. The presence of altered and inaccurate signage constitutes non-compliance with public notice requirements, regardless of whether work has begun. On Friday, April 10th, 2026, due to the discrepancies and unauthorized modifications to required signage, the inspector and myself issued notice of violation number 041026-051-001 for excavating without a proper public notice and or for posting improper or altered signage with a per incident fine of $1,000. This is the appeal letter. I will not read it, but it is here for anybody if they want to read this. The notice of violation for the description. These are the signage. This is the signage that was posted at the location, inspected on 4/7/2026. The signs that were generated by the system for permit 26EXC-01421. On the left, you can see the discrepancies of what is printed on the signs. And on the right, you can see the signs that were posted on site. Display permit information for permit number 24EXC-04808 when the QR code is scanned that was on the signage does not match what is in the system for that area. Permit number 26EXC-01442, Phase 3 Communications, does not match the location for what was posted. This is the permit for the location, permit number 26EXC-01421, RNS Construction Management, Inc., showing that there is no street space shown. This is the invoice. And this is a description of if the sign is generated by the system. The description should read on the left. It will show everything in all caps. It'll have the footage with north, south, odd, or even, and a correct QR code. On the right, the altered sign shows mixed uppercase and lowercase with San Francisco, which we do not put in our permits, and the wrong permit number along with the phone number that is wrong. This is the inspection on 4/7/2026, showing the signage. And I believe that concludes our slide deck.
Okay. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you.
If anyone from the appellate wants to raise their hand, we'll give allow them to speak. Should be plenty of people based on, there we go. There's James. All
Good
right.
morning.
Good morning. We can hear you.
Perfect. James Layden here with RNS Construction Management.
James,
I'm just going to briefly go
excuse
through.
me, James,
Okay.
spell your last name, please.
Leyden.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm just going to run through our appeal letter briefly. So basically, there's 3 points on our appeal letter. The sign was altered. We don't dispute that. We have a job with multiple locations, sometimes up to 10 per day. So I think our person who was posting took the liberty of altering the sign. But the fact is, we do have a valid permit for that location. It's 26 EXC-01421. It's a valid permit for that location. That's the first point. Second point is, at the time, there was no excavation activity being performed. That's in response to the NOV violation saying excavating without proper notice. And finally, point 3 is good faith compliance efforts. Pretty much saying RNS takes compliance with all ESSA Public Works requirements seriously. Upon becoming aware of the discrepancy, we have taken steps to ensure that all posted signage reflects the correct permit information moving forward. This was an isolated clerical oversight, not a willful violation. Like I said previously, we did have a valid permit for this location. Those are our 3 points in response to the violation and in appeal to the violation. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, I do have a question though. You said that you had a valid permit.
Yes.
So I guess I'm wondering if the permit and then the barcode were valid, why was the signage off?
Because I believe our person in here that was making the signs actually did edit the signs. They edited the PDF and did not put the correct permit number in. So an incorrect permit number was listed on the signs. And also, as shown on the slide before us, the locations were altered. So the sign was altered and it wasn't showing the correct permit, but we do and did have a correct permit for that location on file.
Okay, so does your office typically print those signs or does Public Works usually print those signs for you?
We usually print those signs.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this case? Clinton, do you see the chat?
No, yes, I do. I have Eric. I'm sorry, Eric L. Just wanted to
Yes.
share a presentation, but
So that's not
oh,
for
that
this
was Eric.
case
Yeah,
then?
that's not. And
Okay.
nobody else has their hand up.
Okay, perfect. So we'll move on to the next order. So order number 212791 to consider an application for a major encroachment permit for a pre-existing underground conduit below Hyde Street between McAllister and Hyde Streets. Oh, may I have Public Works? I'm sorry. May I have Public Works present their case?
Public Works, are you ready to present?
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay, good. All right, let me just share my screen here. If I can find it, sorry. There should be. Here we go. Okay, it should be sharing my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Yes, for Public Works development permits, we have an application address for 198 McAllister Street. Permit application number 20M major encroachment 406, and this is for existing private communication improvements underground. The location that we have um, is going to be at the along Hyde Street, as well McAllister Street. We're going to have electrical conduit routing along McAllister Street west side, running along property frontage in the blue line from the northern part of the property, running southerly all the way down to intersection of McAllister Street and Hyde Street, then turning 90 degrees, heading westbound towards the westerly property line of subject property. Along with that, there's going to be a private underground fiber optic cable running along Hyde Street north to south, crossing Hyde Street. It's going to be roughly about 3 foot below grade of the asphalt road. Here we have existing elements. Again, this encroachment is already installed, so we're here to just record, those elements in the right of way. So these will be. This is the table of items that will be in the public right of way, along with fiber optic cables and electrical conduit. Next, we'll have part of the process. There needs to be, for major encroachment, 300-foot radius public hearing notice to allow for any fronting property owners to be notified of this encroachment in the public right of way. So the process moving forward for Public Works is the completion of the notification for this encroachment in the right of way. There needs to be an acceptance of this encroachment permit, along with maintenance by permittee of this encroachment in the public right of way. And in this case, there needs to be support, work around, and protect utility facilities, mainly because there will be city facilities as well private facilities that will be going in the future, potentially installed in the right of way. And once that is accepted, the collection of all the documents, I'll need to, include all of that as part of the permit procedure to move forward for approval. And that ends my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any members of the public who want to speak on this?
As of now, there's nobody with their hand up. Just a reminder, everyone, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand. And I am checking, and I do not see anyone.
Okay. If there are no further comments on this matter, I will close this order. The next order is going to be 212818 to consider the Candlestick Point Major Phase 2 projects. May I have Public Works present their case?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I had to rejoin as presenter. Let me just share my screen 1 second. Please let me know if you can see my slide.
I see.
Excellent. Great. Good morning. My name is Shauna Gates, and I'm a project manager with the Public Works Infrastructure Task Force. I'll be presenting Order 213818 for the Candlestick Point Major Phase 2 project, presenting the developer's request for exceptions and deferrals from various requirements of the Candlestick Point and Hunters Point Shipyard subdivision regulations, and vesting tentative map and deferred materials submittal conditions of approval. Candlestick Point is a phased development anticipated to be completed over 7 major phases as shown on this graphic. In 2014, the project received conditional approval of a vesting tentative subdivision map, or VTSM, which granted the right to develop the project in stages. The developers requested approval of a final subdivision map to begin development of Major Phase 2, which will create new streets and 6 new housing blocks. This area is shown in orange. The topic of today's hearing is to discuss the developer's request for exceptions and deferrals, which are required to be granted by the Director of Public Works prior to approval of the final subdivision map by the Board of Supervisors. This table includes a summary of the types of exceptions and deferrals requested by the subdivider in connection with this final map and the associated new public infrastructure. The developer has requested City to expedite the review of the final subdivision map, infrastructure designs, and associated documents in order to secure a final map approval prior to the end of June 2026 in order to meet timelines set forth by the Subdivision Map Act. Various exceptions and deferrals are required to meet this timeline. On the following slides, I will go over each requested exception in more detail and provide the staff recommendation for each. The process for requesting exceptions and deferrals is outlined in the San Francisco Subdivision Code, Section 1612, which states that the Director of Public Works can grant exceptions, waivers, or deferrals from requirements of the subdivision code or regulations as long as the 4 criteria listed here are met. These criteria ensure the exceptions would support the project intent and would be beneficial to the public welfare and not injurious to neighboring properties. In addition to exceptions to subdivision regulations, because the subdivider seeks to modify or defer compliance with the timing of certain DMS or VTSM conditions of approval, the Subdivision Code Section 1612 requires the formal request for exceptions, waivers, and deferrals to be submitted and granted by the director. And just to note that I will be using the term developer and subdivider interchangeably in this presentation. This first exception includes a request for technical exceptions to the subdivision regulations related to curb heights, gutter location, roadway and sidewalk slopes, a loading zone width, and 1 manhole located within a crosswalk, as well as a variance from the VTSM roadway layout by deleting 1 roadway median, which is preferred operationally by the SFMTA. Staff recommends conditional approval of 10 of the 12 requested exceptions with noted conditions. Staff recommends the director consider the remaining 2 requested exceptions at a future hearing when additional information is known to adequately evaluate. The second exception requests an exception to the subdivision regulations to enable the city to accept completed utilities in incomplete roadways. Due to the phasing nature of this project, there are certain utilities that are required to support this phase, including water, sewer, and storm drain facilities, but the streets will be constructed in a later phase. These areas are shown in red on the graphic above. In consultation with affected city departments, the staff recommends approval of this exception with the following conditions. The developer would bond for certain incomplete portions of roadways that will be completed in future phases. Developer would maintain access roads and temporary facilities required for the city's operation of those utilities and ensure protection of city facilities. The developer or OCII would grant sufficient access and land rights for city ownership and operation of facilities, and the developer would complete infrastructure in accordance with the public improvement agreement terms and approved designs. Additionally, the city would retain full discretion to determine whether it will accept or conditionally accept any or all public facilities in these areas at the time the subdivider requests acceptance. The third exception is a request to defer the detailed designs of public infrastructure that is otherwise required to be complete prior to the approval of a final map and associated public improvement agreement. Given the timeline required for approval of the final map due to requirements of the Subdivision Map Act, the design of public infrastructure will not be complete at the time of final map approval. In consultation with affected city departments, staff recommends approval of the deferral of detailed designs with the following conditions. The subdivider would provide a design bond for elements of deferred design. The developer would update their engineer's estimates that estimate the value of work and post additional security if required. The city reserves the right to withhold certain building permits until design and permitting of critical infrastructure is complete. Improvements permits must be obtained within 1 year of recording the final map, and subdivider would provide written acknowledgement of their responsibility to deliver public infrastructure required to serve new development lots. The fourth exception is a request to approve a deferral of access rights, permanent easements, notices of restrictions, and other agreements until after recordation of the final map. In consultation with affected city departments, the staff recommends approval of this exception with the following conditions. Agreements shall be in place prior to Public Works issuance of related improvement permits. No notice of completion shall be granted for improvements without permanent land rights in place. City shall be granted beneficiary rights to developer access rights for construction. SFPUC shall be granted easement or fee dedication for bioretention facility proposed outside the final map boundary, which land shall be vacated prior to offering of the easement or dedication and fee. The fifth exception is a request to approve deferral of the vacation of a portion of Jamestown Avenue identified as remainder parcel lot 57 on this final map, which is a deferral from Public Works DMS condition of approval as shown. Staff recommends approval of this exception with the following condition. The vacation of this area must be completed before the area is offered in fee to either SFPUC or RPD. Such vacation action shall be requested by subdivider, and subdivider shall perform all coordination required with adjacent property owners and existing utility owners required for completion of the vacation. The sixth exception includes a request for technical exception to the subdivision regulations, enabling the use of a smaller diameter pipe for gravity sanitary sewers. In consultation with the SFPUC, staff recommends approval of this exception with the following condition. Developer shall provide pipe maintenance equipment as agreed upon by the SFPUC and subdivider in a letter dated April 27th, 2015, prior to a request for acceptance of any HDPE pipes with a 7.5 inch diameter, minimum or inner diameter. The seventh exception is a request to approve various related exceptions and deferrals to the vesting tentative subdivision map and deferred materials submittal conditions of approval for the project. In consultation with affected city departments, the staff recommends conditional approval of this exception, subject to the condition described on previous slides for exceptions 3, 4, and 5. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions you have.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions. Is the applicant or appellant here to speak?
I'm looking for hands up and I do not see anyone. I do see quite a few people, so I'll give them a little bit of time. Surely
Okay.
somebody there wants to speak.
We do have the
or maybe not,
applicant.
Shauna.
We do have the applicant here to respond to questions, but unless there's public comment, we don't need, defer to those folks if they want to say anything.
Are there any members of the public who wish to comment at this time? Okay. So before closing the hearing, I want to offer one final opportunity for public comment on any item on today's agenda. You're still sharing, I guess.
Thank you.
It's
Took a
okay.
second.
Are there any final public comments?
And Ms. Harris, I do not see anyone with their hand up in the attendees.
Okay, no problem. So if there are no further comments, I will close the hearing. This hearing is now closed. Thank you. Thank you, Clinton.